I don't know what time it is where you are, but right here it's time for the Stones River Amateur Radio Club meeting. We have a great meeting scheduled for you tonight, and we will be discussing resources of the new ham, as well as W1KOM will be right here with us to discuss DMR APRS. Get your favorite chair, get your favorite drink, and get ready. We're about to begin.
And there we are.
Good evening, fellow Stones River Amateur Radio Club members. I am Marvin Turner, W0MET, and president of the Amateur Radio Club here.
And my name's Glenn. I'm W1KOM, and I'm vice president.
Very good. Let's start off with our club prayer and pledge. And if you'd all stand for those, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Dear Lord and Father, hear us now as we call to you. Receive this, our prayer. Teach us to listen to your word. Keep us in tune with your will. Grant us the capacity to obey your commandments. Help us to resist evil and the signals of Satan. Communicate to all on this earthly world the joy of Christian fellowship. Transmit to the hearts of all those who would hear the comfort and strength of your almighty power through Jesus Christ, your Son, our Lord and Savior. Amen. And if you have any hats on, just go ahead and please remove your hats and stand for the pledge. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, very good. Welcome, and we've got a full presentation for you this evening, and we've got I'm going to run off a lot of a PowerPoint here for everybody to see this a little bit easier, and we should be able to get through this, be about an hour here total of time, and we'll have some things we'll have to go through and figure out. We'll probably have some voting procedures that'll have to come out of this meeting that we'll do online via Google Forms, and I'll get into that in just a minute. We'll talk about some the survey results, as well as a treasurer position opening, and of course, I think everyone's anticipated field day. So we have a lot to get into, and then we'll have some training on some resources of being a new ham, as well as the DMR APRS. So, first thing, talking about field day, I've really got that further down in new business as we talk about, but our dates are going to be June 27th through the 28th of 2020. The other thing is field day. We are going to continue to go with that. It will be in place unless something significant changes. with this pandemic and where we're at, that we will continue to move forward with those plans. And we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go on in the meeting. Dues online, they are coming still. I know I've said that. It's a lot more of a process. We're looking at several things. Venmo, look through some of those rules, what they have. PayPal is requiring an EIN number, which is the taxpayer ID number. We found another source that we don't have to go through called Square, exploring those options and seeing what that looks like. So those things are still coming forward, but it's just not as easy as it is being done. So with that, we'll go from there. Again, I forgot to mention at the very beginning of this, our financial report and our secretary reports are waived just because it's not easy to share. If you want to receive the notes of the last meeting, you can always go back into our YouTube channel and watch last month's meeting. That is available online for all members as well, and anybody else that would like to view that. So moving on to some new business. The first thing up is going to be the Stones River Amateur Club survey. We kind of covered a number of topics with this. Training, what people want to see for additional training ideas. We've got our thing that we did back in January with our list for each month, but with this COVID-19 pandemic, we've had to find ways to switch this up a little bit because it's really hard to conduct some of those. And so we've got some great ideas that come out of that. I'll show you guys those results as we go on. Club activity ideas. You guys really surprised me with some of those. It'd be interesting to see some of those results that came from this. Dues, go into that a little bit further. Some bylaw stuff, the constitutional stuff that was in our books already that I was not aware of, that we're able to discuss and figure out. And then, of course, ARRL membership. And that was an outstanding number of members of us that are part of ARRL with good reasons. So we'll talk about those more as we go. Training topics, as you see some of these, again, this will be available on YouTube. You could always pause this, look at the screen more in depth. I could probably share this PowerPoint on the website like a PDF format too. If of those you would like, just make a note of that or send us an email looking at that request. But people were looking at just some of these I'm going to highlight. Basic radio operating procedures. Someone wanted to go to station at field day. So whoever may have submitted that, maybe I'll ask you to maybe step forward and look at doing that because there are some special requirements that we have to have for that to happen. Just using a radio in my daily life. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit this evening, and some resources for some new hams. The APRS, we'd like to be able to get into that more with like a Kenwood or an FTM 400. So if somebody has some information on that, can do a little screen share with that on a video, that would be great to be able to put out there. WinLink, we did cover that a little bit last month, which was good. We've covered a ton of stuff on DMR. Hopefully everybody's getting a better grasp of that and understand that with the hotspot and what's going on. And moving on, again, some of DMR, the TMA repeater is currently kind of out of service up in Nashville. Some things changed with Brandmeister is my understanding. And we have had to go in and change that code. And so hopefully it'll be changed. If it's not been changed today, maybe it'll be changed yet this week or weekend. So I can get with Tom with that, maybe put a short notice out if somebody's wanting more information on that. But that change is coming, and it should be back up very briefly. Excuse me. Some weather-related topics, natural disaster preparedness, things like that. We are going to do some more fox hunting. We've got some members with those tools more now available. And so, and one thing I would, one thing I wouldn't mind seeing is a license upgrade in school. Sometimes if we can put some type of extra class on, maybe closer to the fall, that would be very cool to be able to have that. So, and then satellite operations. Not sure if anybody in the club does have any of that technology to be able to do that. But if you do, feel free to reach out to me on a repeater, on my phone, email, the club email, and we'll certainly get together and talk more about that. Myself personally, I'd also like to have that a little bit more information. It's very interesting. So So those are some of the training topics that you guys put forth in that survey, and I think that's it's a good base of stuff to go off of. So we appreciate the feedback that really came from that. As one of the things you'll see, we did have 47 responses come back to this, which was quite impressive. I mean, I did send out about 127 people in our club that we send notifications to for emails every time I send one out, and 47 of you responded. So I was very happy and impressed with that. 34% of you said that in person you would like to continue to receive some type of training and do those type of things for the training present a monthly meeting. So we will continue to on board that course and move that vehicle forward in the future, doing it that way. Hands-on, 29% of you, 29.8% of you said that. And I think there's a couple more actually increase that number because there's a couple of the smaller pies in there, slices of the pie that also kind of mentioned that both in person and hands-on. So that percentage is probably actually a little bit more increased than that. And then 17% of you said you enjoyed doing the videos and seeing that. And so, you know, I think Glenn and we've posted some videos online with that as well on our website that covers some of those things that have some video presentations. So I think Glenn's maybe put one together on there. So it's been good to see you guys are enjoying those type of presentations. You know, everybody is a little bit different, whether they're audio or visually, you know, or hands-on type of training. And so I do want to try and include that for everybody to have different learning methods that it works out well for everybody overall. What type of activity would you like the club to do more of? Check your top 3 topics. Now, unfortunately, the one at 34 responses, 72%, that was more of the hands-on, the antenna buildings, getting, you know, down in the dirt and grime, getting your hands dirty per se, helping people, you know, do grounding or putting, you know, vehicles together and setting up a radio inside there. That was a lot more of the hands-on type of stuff that people wanted to see and have those type of projects available. So if you do have a future project in the future, just FYI that there is a number of people in this club that would like to be able to step out and help you and do that. And with Glenn and I, we both had a number of people come out to our events and help raise our antenna towers, and we've been very grateful for that. But there are others that are willing to come out and assist and help you if you have a similar project in the future. So please let the club know, and we will be glad to put that out to have all hands on deck for your project on your Pacific date as well. The next big number was with the field day type of activity, and we will continue to do that. Again, we are moving forward, and a little bit more about that a little bit later. I would like to maybe plan another type of field day activity closer to our fall barbecue that we do, and we'll do another type of activity then, I think, as well. And we'll have a fox hunt, I think that's scheduled for July, if I remember correctly. I don't have that in front of me right off the bat. So there is some information coming forward there. And then the other thing is community parades, bicycle events, bicycle races. And Tom always coordinates that and does a great job, K1KY. And, you know, people want to continue to be involved and do those. So those are our top 3. And again, 40%, we're not far from that, was the barbecue outings. And we will have more information on that as the summer progresses and we see how things kind of turn out with this pandemic as it winds down, hopefully for us, so we can get back together collectively again in the future. So that's hopefully good news coming to all, and that this is what you guys put in for survey you'd like to see more of, and we are certainly trying to put that together. Do you believe the club should continue to increase its online presence using website and social media? Overwhelming 80.9% of you said yes. And so we have had a great responses from that, of us having an online presence. Just literally moments before the club meeting started this evening online here, another person joined YouTube as our subscriber. So we are certainly making progress in getting our name out there and becoming more well-known every day. And I have people reach out to me almost every week on email via the website for a contact form and asking about the club, how to become members, etc. So we are doing a great job with that. And, you know, you guys want us to continue that method, and we will. To maintain our status with ARRL as a special service club, we need to have more than 50% of our members be joined with ARRL. and overwhelming 68% said that. And I think we're actually a little bit longer, because if you go down a little bit farther, it says been a member since 1956. Congratulations, long-term member there, who that might be. And so that number is probably actually a little bit more increasingly than that, because you also have to include the 8.5% who a person says they've been a member, but have been a member less than a year of ARRL. So we are well into the 70% of our club being that, and we'll continue to be able to have that special service club membership with ARRL because of the amount of members that are ARRL members. So don't say that too many times fast. So anyway, that is good there. So very pleased to see that. 97, almost 98% of you said the club's dues are affordable, and the dues will stay where they're at, and that they were affordable at those levels, $20 for individual and $30 for family. One of the questions was, it came out through the proration, and this is what I said earlier in the meeting at the very beginning, is that we do have a set of constitution or bylaws that says we shall every quarter reduce our dues. So in January, February, March, they'd be $20, and the next quarter of April, May, and June, they go down to $15, and so on. And then by the time the last 3 months get here, October, November, December, they are down to $5 for the remainder of the year. So again, our dues are at the beginning of the year, starting out at $20, and they are prorated throughout the year. That is based on our current constitution that is in place at this point. And so we will continue to keep that, as again, 80% of you did think we should continue to should have some type of proration. And I'm happy to announce to you tonight that a review of our constitution, I was able to find that is currently in place, and we will make sure that is happening from now on. If somebody joins as of today, they will be paying a $15 due instead of the full 20 per our constitution. So thank you for that information as well. Moving on to our treasurer position, I stuck out an email earlier this week. Our current treasurer, Joel Hill, who has been our treasurer for a long time, he has done a phenomenal job with our treasury work and kept our books up to date, and has records all the way back to 2010. And we, must say congratulations to Joel for a job well done. Just outstanding job. Praise him for the work that he's done and the books that he's kept during his time as treasurer, which we know he has been for a long time. And so we will. He is as of May 1st. I've accepted his resignation from the position due to some personal reasons. He has to step down at this point and take a backseat for that position for us. And so I put out an email about back on Monday or Sunday night, somewhere early this week, was an email about a letter of interest. If you were interested in becoming our treasurer, or if you knew somebody that wanted to be our treasurer and you wanted to nominate them, and they are willing to step up to that position, that you should submit that email to the Stones River Amateur Radio Club meeting, or to the email. And this is Carl Behringer. He's been with the club for about 2.5 years. He's been a ham for just about the same length of time. He is the current treasurer of his church. He has a financial systems knowledge of using different software, Excel, etc. He's active in many of our outings. He's been, around for a while. So he is the only one at this point that has stuck his hand out and said, "Hey, I would like to be considered for this position." So the fact that we really don't have a treasurer in place right now, because I accepted Joel's resignation, and that we are kind of in between. Joel will continue to serve that position until we get it filled. Taking care of any matters that we need to take care of, but we need to relieve him of that as soon as possible. So one of the methods that we will go through and do is I will post sometime tonight, tomorrow morning, depends how soon I get it completed, a Google survey similar to what you did before, and it will be in a form of in favor of having Carl Behringer as our future treasurer, or you can vote no. if you do not like to have him as your current treasurer. So I will put that on Google Surveys, and we will review that over the next couple of days. And I will put the results of that out as soon as I kind of get those wrapped up and feel like they've come to a halt, and that I don't have any more surveys coming in after several days. I will put that out to everybody and let them know what the status of this is. We've got to get a little creative during this time. We can't vote together collectively and make this decision. I don't really want to wait till a June or July meeting to do this. We need this position filled sooner than that because we do have financial transactions that do need to be taken care of and things looked at. And again, we got to relieve Joel of this position sooner than later. So in case you guys don't know who Carl was, I posted a picture of him on here as well. And you can, probably remember him from several meetings. You met him or something, good friends with him. And so, we'll put that out on Google survey for a vote of yes or no for him as the future treasurer. Field day, the long-awaited answers that some of you have been waiting for. This will take place again June 27th through the 28th in Sharp Springs Park in Smyrna, Tennessee. We are registered currently on the ARRL website as a location for field day here in Tennessee. We are one of the first to be registered here in the state for this event. When I did it earlier this week, there are a number of different field day locations throughout the country, but there was only maybe a couple here in Tennessee. And so there was nothing here in the immediate area within about 2 hours of us, basically at this point, registered for field day. So we need to be cautious, and we need to take steps to protect our members through this day of event where we do have a lot of us gathering together. Again, hopefully weather and the overall epidemic will settle down by then. But at the same time, I think some people still need to be cautious. And so we will spread tables apart on inside the shelter where we serve food. We will set up some type of other, lines for things to be where people can go through, kind of keep that distance. We'll go through and do a food sign up again, Google form or a sign up genius this year. I'll find a way to do that as we did last year. And if you're interested in bringing food, and we all like to eat at that day, we will do that for that evening. That evening mostly, probably a little bit for lunch as well. But we might look at doing food a little different, where we have people serving you the food. Not that you can't come back after seconds. There's more with plenty left over. But the fact that you have multiple people touching utensils as you go through a line, again, we're trying to minimize that number of contacts that someone might have to come into something like that. We're looking at basically about 4 stations, with the 5th station being a GOTA station. And then that's got some different requirements, which I think I have on my next slide here in a minute. But someone who's basically been inactive on HF, or may just be new to ham that has not gotten into HF yet, would be someone that qualifies to be as kind of the captain of that station per se. I think so far we've got Tom, Ken, Glenn, and myself will operate out of a tent or something at this point as basically the 4 stations. If somebody is interested in putting up another station, please get a hold of me sooner than later so we can start planning this and figuring out our configuration for profile of what the layout of the field day will look like. It was a little disorganized last year in terms of placements and where we were, but again, trying to keep the radios out from under the shelter because of noise conflicts we had last year with some voices and people talking while you're trying to hear a certain call sign coming through over the air. It created a little conflict and chaos at times. And so we're going to try and keep those stations more further out, also kind of creating that distance, and then limiting to no more than 3 people at a station at a time. If you are working with somebody else, if you want to bring your own mic that might plug into a radio or a headset of some sort to be able to use versus sharing someone else's headset, it's probably a good, wise idea at that point. And so we will try and have some wipes and stuff available for like microphones or keyboards, that sort of thing. At that point, as well for people to wipe things down and keep things, protected as much as possible. Out of those 5 stations, we'll have a captain at each station, and I'm hoping that we can have those connected via the N1MM radio logging software of contacts. And so we want to get to everybody ahead of time. That's why I want to know if you're interested in having a station, that you please contact us ahead of time and let us know so that we can get that scheduled and get this N1MM software set up for you and get that figured out with your radio ahead of time. So we're not trying to scramble that day, that evening before on Friday evening, or that day of on Saturday morning, that we're up and running and trying to be an effective field day station operating this year and make some great contacts. So again, it's always a lot of fun. We have a great crew that shows up and always lots of hands to help out. And if you want to learn something, if you're new to ham radio and you want to learn about it, come get on the air. We'll certainly let you do that. We have a great opportunity for you to learn and figure things out and what's required. And we'll, make sure everything's safe and everybody is being safe in regards to the event as well. So field day rules, again, the object is to work as many stations as possible on the various bands. We will work as a Class A station, and 3 or more persons set up specifically for field day is what that one of the requirements is. We will have, again, get that 4, hopefully a 5th with a GOTA station. Stations must be located in places that are not regular stations locations. Obviously, we're in the Sharp Springs Park. That is not a typical home or residence or garage or shop that a ham radio station would be in. So we will have the K4 Fun. So that's our licensed trustee. And so we'll use that as our call sign for that event. And then all equipment, including antenna, must lie within a circle whose diameter does not exceed 1,000 feet. So we certainly are within that distance with the parking lot where some of the RVs were last year and current. So moving from that, I'm trying to think if there's anything else in regards to the field day. I did see one quick thing that Preston brought up to me earlier in regards to the dues. And if you are a new member to the Amateur Radio Club here at the Stones River Amateur Radio Club, maybe you're watching for the first time this evening and you would like to join us as an licensed amateur radio operator, your dues are free. So always a benefit that we do provide that is in our Constitution as well. It is there, and I forgot to mention that earlier. So thank you, Preston, for bringing that up and reminding me of that information. Bylaw changes. As I went through and read our Constitution, and after trying to figure some of the stuff out for our charter, our information, trying to get this PayPal taxpayer identification information figured out so we can get this online dues going. I've read through some of these constitutions, the bylaws that we have, and they really need to be brought up to date. They've been a long time since they were last updated. I want to say it was early 2000s, maybe 2005 was the last time it was actually showing as a physical update on what current ones that I have. That is what was given to me as the president and back in January. So I'm looking for a bylaw change and some review of what we have. I've got a proposed document of a couple of the clubs that we could go off of to expand ours and make it a little bit better. I'm looking for a committee of 3 to do this. I need one of those to be a captain to be able to share this by our next meeting in June, which I really truly anticipate and do believe that we can meet together collectively with the EMA, Emergency Management Agency building, allowing us and that group allowing us to come into the room and visit where we normally do have our meetings. As long as they allow us to come in and share that again, and they give us permission to do that, I don't know of any reason we can't join collectively in June prior to field day. So we will, because field day is so late, we will host a June meeting still either online or collectively together, which is my goal prior to our field day. So if you're interested in serving this committee, please, I apologize for my mistake in serving. Please contact me and let me know, and we will get you. I need a committee of 3. And so if you're interested in serving on this, please reach out to us and let us know, and we will get this squared away. Like I said, we want to get this about a month from now, be able to have this submitted in writing to us, and our constitutional bylaws allow that. So all we have to do is have enough time between meetings to be able to do that. And we should be able to meet collectively, 2 or 3 people. I do not wish to reside on that committee. I want that to be completely separate, a separate group or committee that reviews this and brings it to us to be able to vote on next meeting. So if you're interested in serving on that, once again, please get with us and let us know. Recruitment. Since January, we've gained at least 5 new members online so far, and we've been reached out through that social media I discussed earlier. And what we're looking at doing is sending some type of postcard out to all the hams in the Murfreesboro and Smyrna area. And I want to thank Ken. I'm going to screw up your call sign. I know it's case something for PUK, and I apologize, Ken, for that. I should know that off the top of my head. I don't have it written down, and I'm drawing a blank on it. But thank you for the work for sending this to me and creating this idea. KJ for PUK, thank you. I have a great background here helping me out. He's put this list together in Excel format for us and filtered this out where we can send all the hams that are registered in this Murfreesboro and Smyrna area. We can send out a card, looks very similar to this. And then that would be the front. We put the person, create a label where those lines go, and we can send that out to them and see if we get more people that are not active in the area, get them involved with us, increase our club size, and increase our our social media and our presence out there with other hams that may not be familiar with us, not knowing that we exist here in this area. So this is kind of what it tells us a little bit about us. It's very similar to what you'll see on our opening page of our website. And then this is our background of our club here. I thank W4 OPS, Michael Turner, for creating these cards for us and getting that put together in sizes. If we go to print these, we could actually do 1,000 cards double-sided for about $55. We won't need that many cards, but I'm saying it's pretty reasonably inexpensive for us to be able to do this. And so I'd like to be able to do this as a one-time thing to be able to put this out. This is our vote number 2. If you guys would like to think this is a great idea for us to do this, $55 for printing. Again, it probably won't be that much because that's 1,000 cards. We can do 500 and get by with the number we need and be sufficient for us. But it's very reasonable overall for printing on double-sided, and getting to get a chance to look at these cards one more time. But we would like to be able to get these sent out to amateurs, again, not active in the area, and see if we can get them involved with their club a little bit. So we will put this out to a vote again on Google Forms as our second vote for some. If you guys would please look at doing this and voting for this, I would greatly appreciate that. I think it's a great idea. But if the club collectively doesn't think that's a great idea, then I certainly understand, and we'll move on from that and continue to seek other ways. But I think it's good to reach out to those inactive or maybe those licensed hams that have just dropped off, that didn't think there was much going on. And so that's why we want to try and do this and get people involved again and increase our presence here in the Murfreesboro, Rutherford County area. So in regards to ARRL, many of you did say that you were members, and some of you have maybe seen in QST or read on ARRL that there is a new publication that came out in January called On the Air. This is a great magazine that is out there for new amateur radio operators. It's released every other month, and the March-April is out right now, and I haven't seen May, but it may have just popped out in the last day or two here. I have not went back out and checked. This is the cover of the April magazine. And actually, I will be honest and say that inside on the editor's page, you will find a small article from me. I thought this was a great magazine for new amateurs. Even being an amateur radio operator for over 25 years, I still found a lot of value in this magazine itself. Each month, there's a lot of hints and hacks that help an amateur radio operator figure things out from how do I get on the air? Should I interrupt this conversation, and how do I break into it and say hi to somebody? How do I need to call my call sign first, or do I need to call their call sign first? And a lot of people don't necessarily get that coming into the air, coming into the amateur radio as a new operator when they try and get on the air for the first time. And so it gives you some of those things and ideas about how does a repeater actually work. So there's some operating procedures in there, many various resources of some sort, and gives you information to help you out as a new ham and what you can do, and some projects and stuff in there as well that you can do very simple and basic as a new ham to figure out and start your electronic career, creating a radio or creating an antenna. And there's certainly lots of resources there for that. So you can always check our website as well. We have lots of resources as a new amateur radio operator for you to review, look at, and read. And you can always find that under our resources tab under our webpage as well. So many other radio resources for new hams. There's, again, lots of publications out there. There's QST, there's the Contest Journal, there's a CQ magazine as well. That is not, QST is what is endorsed by the ARRL, but there's lots of different publications out there for it. All the publications usually contain various ads from equipment vendors of Kenwood, Icom, Yaesu. They talk about different people who are spotlighted, who have done great things in amateur radio. They certainly highlight new equipment that is out there that is maybe coming out in the near future. You can possibly pre-order if you would like. Various different types of radio technology. This year being ARRL's, I believe it's a 100-year anniversary. They've been doing a lot of anniversary magazines within the magazine itself, talking about what they did in the past. A lot of them have project builds. Again, they talk about different contests or operating procedures and some of the contest results that happen. And again, some radio basics, even in some of the other magazines you'll find as well. Other resources for ham radio operators that are maybe new, Ham Nation always has great topics. Some very well-known people are on Ham Nation each and every week. And last week they were talking about the COVID-19 virus a little bit and how ham radio's helped out with that. Bob Heil is on there each and every week from Heil Microphones, and some other great people. So certainly feel free to check out that podcast or YouTube video each week. It's always fun to listen to. It's a great group. It's a lot of fun just to listen to it. ARRL podcast, they do have podcasts they put out each week too. They have several different ones that are out there, pretty short in nature. Your car drive to work in the morning could probably cover that podcast for the most part. So feel free to reach out to those and join those on your selective device, phone of some sort that you wish to listen to those. Amateur Radio Newsline, again, a ton of new information out there each week. I believe that's each week it comes out. That's a great one to listen to if you've not heard of that before. And again, many other videos and podcasts available. You can just do a great search for them and find lots of many resources that are available. So, if you ever have questions, we always have Elmers here in the club itself that are willing to help out and help teach you things as well. And lots of resources. Just need to reach out and ask as a new ham, and we are glad to help you in any way we can. So, what do hams do? For new hams, it's just not getting on the VHF, the UHF repeater locally and talking. You can, do the satellite operation. We do radio controls, digital modes, phone, vintage. We do our public service, create those home events, CW, lots of other, again, options, HF, DXing contest, MCOMs. So lots of different things you can do, probably more than what's even listed here. So feel free to, take up one of those things and start investing time in that, learn it. Maybe you'll be the next one that will present at one of our meetings as being a expert or semi-expert on, the satellite operations possibly or something. So feel free to take up one of those projects, start learning about it. And I'm sure there's others that would be interested in helping you learn as well. Make it a Saturday project. There's people that want to get out and do projects together. Maybe we learn how to build a AMSAT satellite tracker machine from some plans and some PVC pipe and a motor. And we follow the satellites across the skyline when they come across the area. So who knows what our next project will be, but we'll find something, I'm sure. Again, we have our normal VHF and UHF operations. Hams enjoy extremely reliable communications, always locally, not just on the DX or HF side of things. And we have a great system here in Middle Tennessee with M-tiers and our local repeaters, and people that work hard to keep those working every day for us to be able to communicate on and continue to keep in touch with each other, even while we're social distance, keeping that 2 meters distance for sure from each other. So anyway, the emergency and other volunteer services, we have certainly those services available here as well during floods, landslides, earthquakes, other community service events with ARES or, any other type of communication that might fail. We are here. Storm weather spotting, we can always be there for that as well. So during storms, and we do provide great communication to the National Weather Service here even in Middle Tennessee with that service that we provide as a hobby in amateur radio, giving the very best of our professional services. Again, you can just see, a lot of different ways we can do things, different ways you can operate, and off of the distance or in the middle of nowhere, or right in your own backyard on a tent, we can do our amateur radio operations and learn each and every day. So that is all I've got for our presentation this evening. I'm going to turn this over to Glenn, W1KOM, who will be glad to share a little bit more with us on the DMR APRS. And from there, we will adjourn our meeting for this evening shortly after that with closing remarks. Glenn, over to you.
All right. Mine's pretty straightforward tonight. I don't have a whole lot of information to give. As he mentioned earlier, that the local DMR repeater is down. Not really down, they're making some changes to it. However, the local frequency that you have, if you're using my code plug, the local setting does work. Tom and I tested that earlier this week, and that works fine. So there's no problems at all there. Sorry, I'm shaking my screen so much. There is no problems there. So that is working, and the issue with as far as all the other services will be fixed. It's probably resolved here soon, I'm sure. Then you can get back to its normal use, and all the other talk groups will start working. But again, the local setting is working fine. It's just, you don't have any worldwide, or you don't have anything of that nature. Outside of that, I have a couple more code plugs. Some of you know that I released a couple of code plugs on the Slack. I ended up having to pull a couple of those down. There was some issues with the APRS as far as on the digital side. And we have resolved the issues with the analog APRS. So I'm finishing up a code plug. It's going to have actually the digital and analog. I'm just testing a few settings. I'm going to get some information from Tom, K1KY, here soon about it. Just make sure we're not running into any issues with the digital and the analog if you're running 2 channels and that type of thing. One thing to remember in your code plugs, if you do set up the analog and the digital, make sure you set up the analog maybe with a -5. I'll have a recommendation for that. By default, the digital will use the -7. If you have them both at -7, one will overwrite the other. So you'll only show once on the APRS. If you do analog as a -5 and digital as a -7, you will end up showing 2 signals. So again, I'm going to try to sort that out with Tom is the best way to set that up, so we don't have any APRS issues going on around town, that type of thing. One other recommendation on the Anytone 878s, stay away from version 1.18, the latest firmware. It doesn't seem to bring any great benefits, honestly. There has been some CPS changes in the software. They actually came out with a 1.18N. I strongly recommend don't install that. It will scramble the zones that you have, and you won't be able to switch to go through your zones at all. It just doesn't work correctly. It becomes a big mess is what it becomes. I actually went to 1.18 and went back to 1.17 and the CPS software 1.17, and everything's working better now. No problems there, so I'll plan on sticking with that. So any of the code plugs I do release will be set up with 1.17. I'll be releasing those in Slack and as well as I'll release them on the website with links as well. Anything else to see? If anybody has any recommendations as far as any DMR repeaters across the state you'd like added, or if there's one out, just inside Kentucky or anything like that you want to get added, let me know. I'll be happy to get those added to the code plug as well. Anything I can do to help kind of speed things up for everybody. I know a lot of people have their own code plug set up certain ways, and that's fine. I'm trying to design one I can kind of come up with a kind of a general feed for everybody. If it helps somebody out, who goes to Chattanooga a lot, or somebody goes to Knoxville. If there's a DMR repeater you'd like to have set up over there, feel free to let me know. I'd love to have it. We all travel, in and out of the state in different areas, and having those handy would be great. I would like to say a special thank you to the Rutherford County Aries group, Preston, KN4, CCQ, Doug, and one EMP. I've been working MTIRs, as many of you know, during a lot of these storms here recently. And I've heard Rutherford County Aries fire up every time. And, the group that's been working with that, there's quite a few of them. There's only two that have come to mind. But you've all been doing a great job. I've been extremely impressed with your reporting, everything. It's great to see for Rutherford County. And I know that, the county itself is probably appreciative as well. But just want to say that, definitely a shout out to y'all. It's great to see the ham operators stepping up the way they have on MTIRs, especially these last storms. The amount of reports coming in it was a flood, I'll be honest with you. K1, I want to also say thank you to K1 KY helping me on MTIRs manage some of that traffic. He was able to sort through and put the most important stuff to the National Weather Service. And so that worked out as well. I didn't have to do double the work. And so that was a good relief to have that backup. And another good thing I'd like to say about ham radar operators, I suffered some tree damage during these last storms. And KM4 PVB Craig, as soon as he heard about me having tree damage, he was here giving me a hand the next day, getting with chainsaws. And again, why I like ham radar operators, and I like this group of people that we have. We have a great club. I can't say enough about them. If there's anybody out there looking to get your license or you're looking to get information, feel free to contact us. If you contact me, email through the website. You would love, you want to join. I think you would, once you got your license, you would really, you would never regret it. I don't think the amount of people in the group that we have, can't say enough about them. Ham radar operators in general, just not our club, but in Davidson County and all the counties around surrounding. Ham radar operators are a different breed and different group, and we all look out for each other. And well worth, being a part of it. And I think you'd enjoy it, and for sure. Let's see. Hold on one second here. I'll bring Marvin back in, and then we can keep going. All right, Marvin, are you there? I think Marvin's having some audio issue. Oh, there you are.
I had a little audio connection issue there for some reason. But now we're back in there. I don't know if my information about the Tennessee State Convention meeting got out or not.
Everything with your PowerPoint came out. That was the last thing we heard.
Okay. So I'll just leave that for a closing remark then.
Okay. Well, I'm finished with everything that I had to go over. Mine was pretty quick tonight, so.
All right. Just looking at any final notes I might have overall. But the Tennessee State Convention is June 20th. So if you're looking for any equipment at the end of the June for field day that you might need, more cable or something else, a radio, some connectors, the state convention is June 20th in Knoxville. And we will, as far as I know, they are moving forward with that, and they will continue to have that. As I looked on the website today, it is still active and going forward at this point. So with that, that's all I've got for this evening. I bring to close the meeting of the Stones River Amateur Radio Club. I thank you all for joining us this evening, and have a great night. And again, reach out if you need anything. Glenn, you got anything for final?
The only thing I can think of is, I know everybody talks about field day. There's a lot of concerns there with the COVID and all that stuff. Sharp Springs Park is a great location for us. It allows us to spread out. We'll have plenty of room. Everybody can keep their distance. I've got, I'm sure Tom's setting up his camper. He's got dual generators. I have dual generators. We could actually, I know I can. I've got enough power to where somebody could set up a station in between us. Plenty of distance. So it's just, don't worry about being crammed up. We thought about ways to make sure that we all stay separated. It's going to be a good event. We can make it work, and everybody stay safe. And that's one of our main priorities, but it's always a great event. We believe we have a good way of doing this, and everybody's going to stay healthy and go home and, have a great time in the process, I believe, and have a good day. So that's all I have, Marvin. I just want to say, I can't say enough for Field Day. I think, everybody needs to keep their mind focused on that. It's going to be a good event, and I look forward to having a lot of new people show up for it.
Absolutely. 73s, have a safe night.
Good night, everyone.